Think you remember everything about Alien? Think again. What if I told you that Ridley Scott's Alien is far scarier than you recall? Sure, the Xenomorph is terrifying, but it's not just the creature that will haunt you. There's something deeper, something more unsettling lurking in the shadows of this 1979 masterpiece. Welcome to Movie Minded, your ultimate stop for movie breakdowns, deep dives, and everything cinema. Alien is Ridley Scott's 1979 sci-fi horror masterpiece that redefined both genres. Imagine it. You're peacefully floating through space in the year 2122, a member of the commercial spaceship Nostromo, when an unplanned detour takes you to a creepy, abandoned alien planet. This is how our story begins, with a crew of 7, led by Captain Dallas, answering a mysterious distress signal. What could go wrong? Well, everything. Unbeknownst to them, the planet hides an egg, and that egg contains a rather unfriendly guest. When one of the crew, Kane, gets a little too curious, he becomes the host for one of cinema's most terrifying and iconic monsters, the Xenomorph. Soon, the crew finds themselves hunted one by this slimy, drooling, really persistent creature. The film focuses on Ripley, who rises from just another crew member to the fearless final girl fighting for her life, and eventually, humanity itself. This is not your average space mission. It's a slow-burn thriller where the walls close in, the stakes get higher, and you're left nervously glancing at your popcorn, wondering if something's about to burst out. Let's get to the good stuff. Those scenes that linger in your mind long after the credits roll. The chestburster scene. It's perhaps the most infamous sequence in the film. Picture this. The crew thinks they're in the clear after Kane wakes up from his alien-induced coma. They sit down for what's supposed to be a peaceful meal, and boom! A tiny, toothy alien baby dramatically bursts out of Kane's chest. It's gory, it's shocking, and it's absolute horror perfection. Fun fact, the cast didn't know exactly how that scene would play out, so their terror is genuine. Who wouldn't scream when your buddy starts projectile bleeding over lunch? Another vital moment is when Ripley discovers the ship's computer, known as Mother, has been programmed by their employer to prioritize bringing the alien back to Earth at the crew's expense. This revelation lays bare one of the film's central themes, the chilling disregard for human life in the face of corporate greed. The realization that the real villain might not be the alien, but the company, Weyland-Yutani, is a twist that adds another layer to the film's anxiety. And then there's the final battle. Ripley, having narrowly escaped the Xenomorph and thinking she's in the clear, strips down for a moment of well-earned relief, only to realize the alien is right there, curled up in her escape pod. This tense final showdown is classic sci-fi horror at its best, with Ripley using her wits and a conveniently placed airlock to send the beast flying out into space. Ripley 1, Xenomorph 0. Let's dive a little deeper into Ripley's character arc. One of the most striking things about Ripley's journey is how understated it is. She's not introduced as a hero. She's just another crew member, doing her job. She doesn't make big speeches or grand gestures. Her strength lies in her ability to stay calm, think rationally, and take action when others freeze. Her dynamic with the rest of the crew shifts subtly over the course of the film. In the beginning, she's often overruled by her superiors, especially Dallas, and her initial attempts to enforce protocol, like the quarantine scene, are brushed aside. But as the crew begins to fall apart, both literally and figuratively, Ripley rises to the occasion. She becomes the decision-maker, the one who keeps her head in the face of overwhelming fear. By the end of the film, Ripley isn't just a survivor, she's a leader. Her final showdown with the Xenomorph isn't just a battle for survival. It's the culmination of her journey from crew member to hero. She earns her place as one of the most iconic characters in cinematic history, not through brute strength or aggression, but through intelligence, bravery, and a refusal to give up. And let's not forget the cat. Ripley's protective relationship with Jonesy, the ship's cat, is a subtle but important aspect of her character. Even in the midst of all the chaos, Ripley takes the time to save Jonesy, showing her compassion and humanity. Visually, Alien is a triumph. Ridley Scott created a film that still holds up over 4 decades later. largely due to its claustrophobic atmosphere and tactile world building. The Nostromo feels lived in. This isn't a shiny, pristine Star Trek-style spaceship. It's industrial, grimy, and full of little details that make you feel like this crew really has been hauling cargo through space for months. The tight, dimly lit corridors heighten the tension, creating a sense of inescapability. Space may be vast, but the Nostromo feels like a coffin. The Nostromo from Alien stands out for its functional and unglamorous design, very different from the sleek and futuristic spaceships seen in earlier science fiction films, like the USS Enterprise from Star Trek or the iconic Discovery 1 from 2001, A Space Odyssey. While those earlier ships projected an optimistic or philosophical vision of the future, with clean lines and advanced technologies, the Nostromo is more of a dark and grimy space tug, a practical, oppressive workplace that reflects the working conditions of its crew. Instead of representing idealism or noble exploration, the Nostromo is almost a character in itself, embodying the isolation and claustrophobia that define the film's tone. And we can't talk about Alien without mentioning H.R. Giger's unforgettable design for the Xenomorph. It's biomechanical horror at its finest, sleek, predatory, and terrifyingly organic. The Alien's design is a perfect fusion of beauty and terror, and it moves with a sinister elegance that makes you squirm in your seat. The film's slow pacing is another masterstroke. Scott lets the tension build methodically, with long stretches of silence that make every noise and shadow feel like a threat. While many horror films rely on jump scares and fast-paced action, Alien excels at something much more terrifying: slow-burning, relentless tension. The true horror of the movie isn't just the Xenomorph stalking the crew. It's the feeling of being utterly alone in a vast, uncaring universe. You're trapped with the Nostromo crew, surrounded by tight, claustrophobic corridors that make every step feel like a potential last. The film preys on primal fears: fear of the unknown, fear of betrayal, and fear of isolation. But what really adds to the horror is the corporate greed lurking in the background. The Weyland-Yutani Corporation's cold, calculated decision to sacrifice the crew for a chance to capture the alien shows that the true monster might not be the Xenomorph at all. It's the company that views human life as expendable. This makes Alien more than just a creature feature. It's a psychological horror that hits closer to home, making you question who you can really trust when survival is on the line. In today's world, where distrust in corporations and technology continues to rise, these themes are more relevant and scarier than ever. Then there's the theme of isolation. Space is the ultimate lonely frontier, and the crew's detachment from any outside help is palpable. As the alien picks them off one by one, the claustrophobia of the Nostromo grows. The vastness of space becomes less of an open canvas and more of a trap. There's no escape, no cavalry coming to the rescue. On a more primal level, there's the theme of fear of the unknown. The Xenomorph itself is an embodiment of this fear. It's alien in every sense of the word. We don't understand it, can't predict it, and certainly can't control it. It's the ultimate predator, and that unknown makes it all the more terrifying. This taps into one of humanity's oldest fears, the fear of what we can't see or comprehend. The film's resolution ties back into its core themes of survival. Ripley has faced not just the terror of the alien, but the betrayal of her own company, emerging as a symbol of human perseverance. The message is clear. In space, no one can hear you scream, but they can definitely see you fight. Alien is more than just a movie. It's an experience. It's a masterclass in tension building, character development, and visual storytelling. What makes it so memorable isn't just the Xenomorph itself, although that creature is definitely nightmare fuel, but the way it uses horror and sci-fi elements to tell a deeper story about survival, corporate greed, and the primal fear of the unknown. By the time the credits roll, you feel as if you've been on a journey with Ripley. From her cautious pragmatism in the beginning to her final moment of triumph, she's a character you can't help but root for. The movie leaves you with a mixture of relief and dread. The alien is still out there. And isn't that the mark of a great horror film? It sticks with you long after you've left the theater. In the end, Alien is the perfect blend of suspense, terror, and a touch of sci-fi coolness. It's a movie that invites you to sit back, scream a little, and appreciate the sheer audacity of space horror done right. So, next time you find yourself in space, remember Ripley's rules. Don't break quarantine, watch out for shady androids, and if something bursts out of your crewmate's chest, run. And that's it for today's video. I hope this deep dive into Alien has you rethinking why it's still such a terrifying masterpiece. If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Movie Minded for more movie analyses, reviews, and all things cinema. Let me know in the comments, what's the scariest part of Alien for you? Until next time, stay safe, and remember, in space, no one can hear you scream, but we'll definitely be here to talk movies.